isolated country, yet our buoyant economy, spectacular scenery and outdoor lifestyle make us one of the world's most desirable countries to live in. However, there's a growing number in our community who feel totally isolated, suffering in silence. They could be farmers, sporting heroes, or even your best friend. New Zealand is struggling with a mental health crisis, and something has to change. Depression affects 1 in 6 New Zealanders, and we have the highest youth suicide rate in the OECD. It is so serious that in January, the government initiated an inquiry into mental health and addiction. Many treatments are available for depression, but around 30 to 50% of patients suffer from treatment-resistant depression, a staggeringly large population for whom existing treatment methods are ineffective. Jacinda Ardern has vociferously campaigned for change and fresh thinking in this area. I believe the change required is the widespread adoption of transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS. Neurons are the electrically excitable cells that make up our central nervous system. They receive, process, and transmit information through electrical and chemical signals. Neurons make connections with each other in circuits called neural pathways, much like the electrical wires in your home. However, the nerve cells don't touch, but come close together at synapses. When excited by an electrical signal, the neurons send chemical messages called neurotransmitters in one direction across the synapse to be accepted by the next neuron at a specialized receptor. Familiar neurotransmitters include serotonin, which helps to regulate mood, and dopamine, which helps control the brain's reward and pleasure centers. When our synapses are working, they allow our neurons to communicate properly so our nervous system can function correctly. However, the ability to form new connections between neurons, neuroplasticity, is impaired in depressed patients. This is believed to prevent the brain from responding appropriately to adverse stimuli and stress. TMS is a non-invasive procedure approved in 2008 by the US FDA as an effective treatment for depression. Regulators in Europe and Canada have also followed suit. Treatment does not require sedation, and TMS's minimal side effects include the potential for a slight headache or tingling during treatment. Patients remain alert during the sessions and can continue with daily activities immediately afterwards. During a TMS session, an electromagnet is placed near the forehead, painlessly delivering magnetic pulses which induce small electric currents in the left prefrontal cortex of the brain. High-intensity current is rapidly turned on and off in the electromagnetic coil as the capacitors discharge, producing fast-changing magnetic pulses. When these pulses alternate rapidly enough, a secondary electric current is induced, which leads to the neurons depolarizing, becoming more positively charged or activated. They release neurotransmitters that travel along pathways to the brain's limbic system, which regulates our emotions, behaviour patterns, and motivations. When repeated over several weeks, new connections between the neurons grow, and these neurocircuits become stronger and more permanent. The objective is to restore normal brain function. Depression is primarily induced in New Zealand through psychotherapy or taking antidepressants. Psychotherapy is only effective if the person actively embraces the advice, and may not be easy to implement if suffering has been ongoing for an extended period. High demand for these services means they're not always readily available, resulting in medication being prescribed instead. In 2016, almost 300,000 New Zealanders were prescribed antidepressants, an increase of 65% over the previous decade. The number of children and teenagers taking antidepressants has almost doubled in this period to nearly 15,000, although they carry an FDA black box warning about increased suicidal thinking and behaviour in individuals under 25. Despite insufficient trials of TMS yet in the under 18 age group, the sole TMS practitioner in NZ, Dr. Rui Mendel, believes that with increased research, TMS will become the treatment of choice. Antidepressants are oral medication which seek to enhance levels of neurotransmitters, strengthening neural circuits which regulate mood. Unfortunately, antidepressants have a range of side effects, including weight gain, sexual problems, tiredness, stomach upsets, and memory loss. Another disadvantage is that antidepressants can take up to 4 weeks to be fully effective, and it's not uncommon to try 3 or 4 types at varying doses before finding what works best or has the least side effects. People in an extremely vulnerable state and potentially at risk of suicide lose precious time cycling through different drugs, waiting for them to take effect. ECT is the current treatment offered to patients with treatment-resistant depression. Patients are anaesthetised, then small electric currents are passed through the brain to stimulate the neurons, triggering a brief seizure. ECT has significant side effects, including short-term confusion and fatigue, and the potential for longer-term memory loss or cardiovascular complications. TMS is a superior alternative, as it's cheaper and the magnetic field is confined to the prefrontal cortex, eliminating adverse side effects. TMS has been studied extensively worldwide, resulting in an abundance of clinical trial results that support its success in treating major depressive disorder. Long-term study results were presented to the American Psychiatric Association in 2013, where 257 people who participated in a TMS clinical study were observed for a year with periodic checkpoints. After 1 year, 69% of patients reported improvement to their symptoms, while 45% reported complete remission. Study investigators and psychiatrists have described the durability of TMS therapy as remarkable, as it's not common to see long-term benefit in patients with treatment-resistant depression. Long-term data following remission rates produced by antidepressants or ECT in treatment-resistant patients has been disappointing, with only about 13% still in remission a year later. An NZ TMS treatment is currently only available at the Healing Minds Clinic in Auckland. Treatment consists of daily 30-minute sessions for 4 weeks, with a full course of treatment expected to cost $5,000 to $8,000. Healing Minds reports that 70% of people who don't respond to other treatments will improve, while 30% will experience a full recovery, results mirrored by a large number of clinical trial results overseas. There's no doubt we're significantly trailing global adoption for this treatment, with 700 TMS machines in use in America alone, where treatment's covered by insurance. Professor Paul Fitzgerald, a world expert in TMS, has run the largest clinical TMS program in Australia for 13 years, training over 250 people. Yet Australia is seen as behind other countries for TMS treatment. I believe public funding to support the implementation of TMS in our public health system ticks a lot of our wellbeing objectives. A 2016 report calculated the cost of mental illness to our economy at 5% of GDP, or $12 billion. Given that up to 50% of patients can suffer from treatment-resistant depression, the payback from investing in TMS could be huge. The cost for a TMS machine and chair is $120,000 to $260,000. If all 20 of NZ's district health boards acquired 5 TMS machines for their regions, that's a maximum cost of only $26 million. There's training and personnel costs on top of that, but the upfront investment is dwarfed by the potential economic savings. The government could even consider public-private partnership funding solutions to encourage the private sector to invest in this technology, supported by long-term government contracts for subsidised treatment. Some of these economic benefits would be derived from a reduction in the 55,000 adults currently receiving disability payments due to mental illness. Many will be able to return to the workforce, improving our country's productivity and reducing skills shortages. TMS will benefit employers from reduced absenteeism, with mental health issues currently contributing to 40% of time off work, and ultimately lead to less strain on the mental health system through reduced hospital admissions and medication expenditure. The high risk of premature death for people with a mental illness comes at a huge personal cost to families, friends, and communities. With TMS, life expectancy will be increased, suicide prevented, and studies have shown that it also assists with substance use disorders, suppressing addiction present in 70% of people with a coexisting mental illness. It's understandable that people may be apprehensive about this treatment, especially given the stigma associated with historical shock therapy. However, we know young people are quick adopters of new technology, and social media can be a strong medium for both education and dissemination of the benefits of TMS. With TMS now firmly established internationally as a depression treatment, research is turning to its other possible uses, ranging from the treatment of migraines to Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, epilepsy, and stroke. 60,000 people in New Zealand suffer from dementia, currently costing $1.7 billion to the country, which is expected to reach $5 billion by 2050. However, according to Alzheimer's New Zealand, new models of care that keep people healthier at home for longer could achieve cost-benefit ratios of 6.6 times the value of investment. A type of TMS called theta burst stimulation targets 4 sections of the brain in 12 minutes, improving memory, attention, concentration, and cognitive function, significantly slowing the onset of the disease. Researchers at Monash Alfred Psychiatry Research Centre in Australia have recently conducted small-scale trials of theta burst stimulation for Alzheimer's with encouraging preliminary results. Some savings from reduced health expenditure could be applied to enhancing urban green spaces, as the World Health Organization has stressed that having access to such areas can improve well-being and aid in the treatment of mental illness. According to the World Health Organization, depression is now the leading cause of disability in the world. Do you think that is the vision that Sir Paul Callaghan shared for New Zealand? I believe he would have looked to technology for an ambitious solution. TMS is safe, well tolerated, and available right now to provide effective treatment for the substantial number of depressed patients with nowhere else to turn. If our government is truly focused on enhancing New Zealand's well-being, then public funding of TMS is indeed a no-brainer. Thank you.
Thank you. Judges?
Thank you, Amy. Are you suggesting that TMS should be used instead of medication?
Well, actually there's evidence that suggests that antidepressants and TMS can be used in conjunction to increase the effects, and then antidepressants can be tapered off as symptoms start to improve.
Do you know how it works?
How TMS works? Well, in fact, scientists don't actually know how antidepressants work, they just know that they work. And it's similar with TMS. But magnetic brain stimulation is not a new idea in medicine. In fact, the ancient Greeks and Egyptians used magnetized iron-containing stones on the brain to treat neurological conditions.
And did they work?
Well, since then, it has been studied extensively, and there's significant evidence that suggests that TMS is a highly beneficial treatment.
And so in the UK and Canada, I think you mentioned it's used in conjunction with other treatments, is it?
Yes.
In which case you don't know whether it works or the other treatments work.
Well, actually, TMS is used for patients in Australia and in other countries. TMS is used for patients who have failed to respond to 2 or more antidepressants. So they have failed to respond to all other attempts at treatment. In some cases, they've tried up to 9 antidepressants, and TMS has been the only thing that has worked.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.